Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the first podcast for the insurance collaboration to save lives. My name is Mitch Bagley. I've been leading our marketing and communications group at the collaboration as well, serve on the board. We are very excited to have our first health technology partner that is going to be joining us today, Tom Nodine from Human Life Expectancy, the CEO and founder of Human Life Expectancy. So, Tom, welcome. We really appreciate you being the first one to start. And I believe we met in Nashville at the Insurance Innovators Conference and a couple other conferences this summer. So it's great to have you here.
Thank you very much, Mitch. I'm delighted to be here.
And Tom, we might as well start with one of the intro insurance questions. Is what is your background in insurance? How did you get it started in the insurance world?
Sure. Well, over the last 25 years, actually, I've been a consultant to the insurance industry and an executive within the insurance industry, focusing on innovation. I led Booz & Company's U.S. insurance practice. I led KPMG's global insurance strategy and innovation capability. And then I also led Allstate's technology strategy and innovation for a number of years. And in that light, worked with insurers around the globe to implement new technologies to help revolutionize their businesses. And so, as you might imagine, it largely entailed digitization of sales, service, and claims, and using new technologies such as satellites to look at homes and roofs, as well as some new technologies to start to assess health. And it's probably about at this point, it's probably about 5 years ago that I first stumbled across epigenetics as a new tool for helping insurance companies.
So was it well, let me start back. How long ago did you start Human Life Expectancy?
So I just continuing the story, I mean, I was so enthralled with the potential of epigenetics to revolutionize insurance, but even beyond that, to help people live longer, healthier lives, that I realized if I don't stop everything and just devote myself fully to this, I will regret it for the rest of my life. And so I did just that. I ended up, during COVID, I did a lot of studying and background and formed my team. And then on the order of 2 years ago, founded the company, Human Life Expectancy, Inc., with the broad objective of helping as many people as possible to live as long as possible, as soon as possible. And that one of the primary means of doing that is working through insurers who have a huge stake in the game for helping people to do just that.
The first question I had, and then when I saw your presentation, which was great in Nashville, what exactly, when I think of epigenetics, I was thinking more along the lines of actual genetics. What's the difference between epigenetics versus genetics?
Big difference. In short, epigenetics is hugely more useful for insurance. So let me explain, though, that from a scientific basis, I'd much rather have my chief science officer tell you this, but I'll do my best. Here's the basic idea. You're probably familiar with genes that we're all born with, same in every cell of our bodies and stay the same throughout our entire lifetimes, except for very minor mutations. They're the code of life, and they're astonishing. And the fact that we were able to read the book of life, decode and sequence the human genome in 2003 was a true triumph of human science. It ended up costing, I think it was $2.7 billion to do it, and it took over 10 years. It was a long time and a lot of effort. Now you can get the same test done for about $800. And because of that, many more genes had been sequenced. And we were all thrilled about that, but there was a bit of a disappointment in that it was discovered that many people carried genes that never got expressed. And sometimes that's a good thing. For example, if you carry the gene for Huntington's, you will hope that it never gets expressed. But still, it raises the question, what genes are expressed and which ones are not, and what controls that? And so scientists started looking around the outside of the genome, or the epigenome, for chemical reactions that turn on and turn off, accentuate or mute the underlying genes. And that is the science of epigenetics. So sorry for the long answer. The short answer is epigenetics is the expression of your genes. Genetics is what your genes are themselves. And that matters critically because as you age, as you get various diseases, as you get various habits and behaviors, sleeping, exercise, diet of various types, your epigenome changes to reflect all of those factors. And so you can read enormous things from the epigenome, and very much unlike the genome, it changes over time. So you can tell whether somebody is doing better or worse or not in terms of their ability to live longer, healthier lives. Does that make sense?
It does, and something that I learned about 4 or 5 years ago. I'm a big Jordan Peterson fan. I don't know if he's a Canadian psychologist that has created a lot of noise and gained a lot of fame in the last, I would say, 7 or 8 years. But essentially, he talked about how when you put yourself in new environments, you encode new proteins, and essentially you're turning yourself on in different, more stressful environments. Or am I thinking about that the same way with the epigenetics in terms of different behaviors can turn on different codes essentially?
You're absolutely right. It fundamentally changes the balance between the Darwinian Lamarckian argument of nature versus nurture and moves it much more toward nurture. I mean, the fantastic reality is, yes, our bodies respond to our environments and our behaviors. So I don't smoke, but let's say I did smoke. If I smoked, what my body would do is say, what did you do to me? And it would go up and down the 3 billion sites on the genome and turn on a whole bunch of genes and turn off a whole bunch of genes to help my body to cope with the fact that now I smoke. So that in itself is just astonishing, that our bodies have that capability that we did not know about more than 30 years ago. But then now what insurance companies can do with that is not only, yes, have evidence of historical behaviors, but also they can say, hold it, which interventions that you're doing actually do the best job of helping you to be more healthy. Very importantly, what the epigenome can tell you is your biological age, which can be different than your chronological age. So some people I think we all have an intuitive understanding that some people are older than or act older than their age, and some people are younger than their age. Yep. Well, this for the first time allows us to quantify that. And what can be quantified can be managed. And so for the first time, we can really say, you know what, for a person like you, the right intervention is a combination of running and meditation and this kind of diet and that sort of thing. Whereas before, we just didn't know that. Well, we've all been trying these things that we think will help without a real quantitative basis for saying, no, for a person like me, these are the ones that are going to be most effective. So it really is a fundamental sea change and advance in our ability to help people live longer, healthier lives.
And why are you so excited about the insurance industry taking this on? Obviously, this sounds very cool, and I think a lot of people will be interested. But what are necessarily the benefits for insurers and reinsurers to take this on?
Insurers have so much to gain from this. First and foremost, and what comes to people's minds first is actually not the major thing that most of my insurance partners are interested in. But what comes to people's mind first is, you can now underwrite more specifically. You can tell how long somebody's going to live, and you can charge them more if they smoke, and based on what their history is. So there is a factual basis for being allowed to do that, or excuse me, the tests enable you to do that sort of thing. Unfortunately, regulatorily, it's more of a question as to whether that's allowed in certain areas, and even more importantly, what customers might want, right? What customers want is to live longer, healthier lives. They don't want Big Brother, right? And so while epigenetic tests can be used to identify past behaviors and can be used for underwriting purposes, the main purposes that the clients that I'm working with are interested in is truly this health benefit. And the idea is this, they would give a policyholder a basic test to come up with their biological age and also what the risks might be for a whole range of different diseases. And then based on that, say, here's some interventions you might consider, or even the policyholder themselves might say, here's what I'm going to try for the next, 3 months or so. And then after 3 months, we try again. So just as when you're dieting, it helps to have a scale. When you're trying to get healthier, it helps to have a scale for how well you're doing. And biological age is a fantastic scale to do that with.
It would seem to both help the policyholder and the insurer. I know a lot of the people that are watching this, and one of my first thoughts I had when I saw your presentation is I consider myself a fairly private person. I'm not. I'm a little bit wary about an insurer having my epigenetic information. What do you say to those that are concerned about the confidentiality of this process between a policyholder and insurer with an epigenetic test?
It's a very legitimate concern, and we plan rigorously to make sure that we take that into account. Not only do we have state-of-the-art security systems, but on top of that, it's double security, because in fact, we never take possession of personally identifiable information at all. And all we give to the insurer is the results of our analysis, not the epigenetic data themselves. So that way, insurers never possess the epigenetic or, by any inference, genetic information. But the policyholder gets the information they need to be able to become more healthy. And the double security is, in order to crack the code, what would have to happen is somebody would have to break into the insurer, find out their proprietary codes for each customer, break into ours separately, and then be able to link the two together. All of those things are distinctly improbable, and we work to make sure that it's not just improbable, but impossible.
That would seem pretty secure to me. So that would alleviate a lot of concerns I would have if I were to go take that test.
And importantly, people are scared about information, but they do want to live longer.
There's no question about that.
It is the single most fundamental instinct that we all have, and so we're getting very, very strong interest.
And I think you and I both share an excitement about the insurance industry taking a more proactive approach to health screening and testing, whether it's epigenetics or the blood panels that our team at Insurance Collaboration are looking at and think could have a high impact for insurers. Do you see with epigenetic testing, do you see more of an impact on the underwriting, on the in-force book? What are a lot of the conversations you're having with insurers with respect to that?
So it absolutely could have huge impacts, as we talked about, on underwriting. It could have huge impacts on the existing book. But where we see it right now, and the way it will likely start, is with new customers, not for the underwriting purposes, but for the health purposes. So used over time, as I had described with you. So it'd be, let's do one test now to get a baseline of your biological age and also identify specific diseases or other factors that you should be concerned about, or at least you should work to avoid. And then let's test you in 6 to 9 months to see if there have been any changes. So, and insurance companies are tremendously excited about this. I mean, why insurance companies? Well, one, they're huge in terms of the numbers of people that can be impacted. And to give you an idea, 23andMe, if they, on a good year, and I know they're having a terribly bad year right now, but in a good year, they're getting, let's call it 100, 200,000 new people. Well, there's 10 million or so new life insurance policies written every year just here in the US, and about 4 times that amount globally. And that's just life insurance. Then there's health insurance on top of that. And epigenetics can be used there as well. So the ability to truly impact global longevity is huge. So, there's that. But then insurers also have long struggled to get good relationships with their customers. At its core, life insurance may not be a lot of fun, or at least it's a challenge to market, right? You collect premiums during somebody's lives and they never get a payback until after they die. That's a tough sell. It always has been, and it always will be.
What's a common question? Name your life insurer. People have a hard time naming their life insurer. I think it's a great opportunity for them to have a much more customer-centric process with their policyholders.
Absolutely. Instead of being a disassociated person who will pay after you die, you get to be, hey, Mitch, you want to live longer. We want to help you live longer. And here's the investment. Here's what we're going to do to help you do that. And the numbers, the finance, the value works out to be that if you can move the needle just a little bit in helping people to live longer, the financial rewards for insurers are absolutely extraordinary. So, there's that, together with the fact that these tests are able to predict more and more things over time, and the price of them is going down exponentially. it's really inevitable that this is going to be a very, very big thing.
I know we've been very insurance focused. Are there any other industries that you're working with right now?
Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah. Although insurance is my true love, let me just say that, because that I was a consultant for many years, and I just know all those companies and all those people. And so that, I will always take that perspective first. But my goodness, yes. Health testing is about a $190 billion business currently. And if you're going to test somebody's health, you got to argue that looking at the code of life and the expression of the code of life and how it changes as a function of our behaviors is a relevant thing to consider.
Yeah.
And given today that three-quarters of us die from non-communicable diseases, such as cancer, heart disease, diabetes, etc., the vast majority of which can be impacted by behaviors. Do you smoke? Do you drink? What kind of sleep do you have? What kind of stress do you have? What kind of diet do you undertake, right? All of these things are to be discovered. And now we have a mechanism for discovering them in an industry that is enormous. So yes, in addition to insurance, we're talking to health testers of many different types.
And I had a preview of your book, which is coming out pretty soon. Maybe touch on the book. But one of the questions myself and my team have, the topic of health equity. What do you exactly mean by that?
Sure.
How can insurers take that moving forward?
First of all, very kind of you to plug my new book. I don't know if you can see. Oh, it's getting blurred.
It's a little blurry, unfortunately, but
it's getting blurred.
Love a good plug.
Well, there is a beautiful blue cover and all that, and the book is called "Revolutionizing Life and Health Insurance with Epigenetic Testing." You can find it on Amazon. It brings up many factors. It brings up the opportunity, the problems that are in insurance, how they can be solved through epigenetics. It brings up regulatory issues. It brings up the future and what's likely to happen. But to your point, as we go forward, of course, health equity is important, right? It should not be the case that the only people who are able to live longer are those people who can afford to do so, right? That just, for most of us, that is palpably just wrong right at the beginning. Fortunately, epigenetic testing falls into that bucket. There was a study done recently, which I'm happy to share, that found a way to do epigenetic testing for the actual processing of the test for a cost of less than $10. And the value of knowing the answers to what your biological age is, what diseases you might have, so that you can proactively head them off, is way over that amount. So governments, employers, insurance companies will find it to their advantage to offer these tests at little or no costs. So the idea is it really makes sense to understand what these tests are, what they're likely to soon become, and be able to lead this trend rather than follow it or even be a victim of it.
That is really exciting to hear especially how cheap the tests are becoming and can be more readily available, because it appears to me, since, with what happened with COVID and then the trends that were leading even before the pandemic, a lot of the health issues that we were seeing do have a significant socioeconomic factor to it. Whether it's I know nutrition and what's in our food has been on a popular among the podcasts as of late in the political sphere, but it does look like there are some socioeconomic factors that have been playing into what we've seen especially since post-COVID as well.
Yeah, well, we agree completely that that's an issue, and we want to work with you and with everyone else to resolve it. And all the evidence seems to point to the fact that epigenetic tests will help that, not hurt it. It'll make it more equal, not less equal.
It's great. It's great to hear. So what made you? I know I mentioned that we've seen each other probably 2 or 3 conferences all in the 2024 calendar year. What was exciting about what you saw in our presentation in Nashville for the insurance collaboration to save lives? Excuse me. And then why are you so excited about partnering with our group?
I am so excited to partner with your group for quite a number of reasons, actually. I mean, first, there's you. Right? I met you, I met Josh, I met Steve, I met Catherine, met Rebecca. You're all cool people, and you're all, in my view, motivated by the right thing, right? You're motivated by the same thing that I'm motivated and my team is motivated by. Yes, we have shareholders. Yes, we, unlike you, I know you're a not-for-profit, but unlike you, yes, we are interested in making money. But our first objective is always to help as many people as possible to live as long as possible, as soon as possible. And so when we found each other, when we found each other at the conference in March, I think we just quickly became fast friends. We realized that we really are about to do the same thing and out to work with the same thing with the same people. And so the obvious point of what can we do to help each other and work together to achieve this mutual objective is something that certainly interested me and my team right off the bat.
It is exciting. If an opportunity to, in my opinion, for what we're looking to do to transform the industry and to help a lot of people in the with that transformation, it's very exciting. And for those joining us that are hearing about insurance collaboration to save lives for the first time, we are a global nonprofit. Our group formed about 2 years ago. Josh Sterling, our founder and president, brought together so many insurance executives, actuaries, former agents like myself, technology representatives to address some of the excess mortality and elevated morbidity that we've been seeing. And part of our initiative is bringing health technology companies like Human Life Expectancy together in part of this ecosystem to help the insurance industry take on our mission, or to help the insurance industry in our mission to save 1 million lives. So we are very excited about it. And Tom, we really appreciate you joining the first Insurance Collaboration to Save Lives podcast. And there will be many more in the future, and looking forward to working together in this journey.
Right back at you, right back at you. It's been a real pleasure, Mitch, and really look forward to what I'm sure is going to be a very exciting future in collaboration.
Thank you so much, Tom. Till next time.
Bye for now.